figure you're looking at the front of the book. Tafshin Mem Dalet. Same year as the Mimer we just finished. Shabbos Parshas Pinchas, which means it's in the summer. It's in Tammuz. This is right after the famous Sikh of Keravel Taint on Yud Beis Tammuz, Tafshin Mem Dalet. Rebbe talked about bringing Mashiach in a very, very stark way. So now the Rebbe just starts talking to the Chassidim. Obviously, there's someone in the room. There's a couple of times where it's clear the Rebbe's talking to someone in the room. Don't know who it is. I was going to dance with Rabbi Gruner and somehow I never got around to it. So, Behem Shel Chamuzkar Liyil. In continuation of that which is mentioned earlier, Eidus Inyan Geula, regarding the matter of Geula. Yeshnam Ke'elo, there are these people. Now, it seems that these people are in the room. Well, it's hard to imagine that the Rebbe would be talking about people outside the room. Who knows? Yeshnam Ke'elo, Shemisareres Etzlam Tamio Plio. It's aroused in them wonder. And now it's clear from this is why it's fairly clear that they're in the room or connected. Even though for obvious reasons, they have not brought up this wonder al dal sfasam on their lips. In other words, they haven't actually said this to anybody, but it's clear that this is bothering them. So how the Rebbe knows that, I don't know, but I mean, Rabbi Klein used to say that driving the Rebbe to the oil was always a very stressful experience, because he would be thinking about something, and if he had a question, the Rebbe would answer his question from the back seat. So he realized that he was sort of an open book. So this was rather stressful, sitting in the car with someone who knows everything you're thinking. So he would, he said he would like drive straight, green, 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 green. You just think about the driving and keep saying over to himself, mundane things about the driving, so no strange thoughts would enter into his head. How you talking? The Rebbe asks, is it possible? Maharadim, I mean, it could be. Maharadim, these people are thinking about this. That there's a Jew who sits and he speaks in public. And in every Farbrengen, he announces without any interruption and never stopping. Speaks about one thing. Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu, the coming of Mashiach. And he goes over the pronouncement of the Bala Geula. This is right after Yud Beis Tammuz, so it's Friedrich Rebbe. Bakriya v'Kedusha, when the Friedrich Rebbe wrote in Tafshin Gimel, 1943, something to be published to everybody. And what did he say? L'alter l'tshuva, l'alter l'gula. Immediately to tshuva, immediately to gula. The gula is coming. Ubad gosha. And he's emphasizing, she'ein zeh davar shenitfas bilvad. Not only is this something printed, ela kavana l'bias Mashiach tzidkenu b'feil mamish, but the intention is actually that Mashiach should come, not that just we should write on a piece of paper that Mashiach should come, or we should pronounce that Mashiach should come. He's actually talking about Mashiach actually coming. Lamatim yasar tfachim, below 10 tfachim, meaning connected to the ground, part of Elam Hazeh. V'tekef miyad mamish, immediately. B'yem ze'atzmei, today. Nidain didan, in our case, what does that mean? Yom Shabbos, Parshas Pinchas, Tafshin Daled Mem. This year, right now. U'kamechein eimin b'chol pam. And similar, they say in every time she'enagnu, that they should sing, she'abane beis hamikdash b'imheru b'yameinu, umadgishin, and they emphasize, she'ena kavana b'imheru b'yameinu machar. When it says speedily in our days, it doesn't mean tomorrow. Ela yom mamish, it means today. Bevada, now these people are wondering why this Jew in Brooklyn keeps talking about this. And I wonder who this Jew is in Brooklyn who keeps talking about this. I just can't imagine who this is. Bevada Imamin Kol Yehudi, definitely every single Jew believes the Mashiach can come any moment. I wait for him every day that he should come. Nevertheless, Mahararim, they think, these people are thinking about this man in Brooklyn. If anybody has any ideas who this man in Brooklyn is that the Rebbe is talking about, you can let me know. I have no clue who the Rebbe could possibly be talking about. Maharim, they think, Mahi Pesher Anhoga, what is the explanation of this behavior? Ledaber, to speak, Leloi Heref Alinyanzeh, without any interruption or Leloi Heref means just constantly, Alinyanzeh. Lahadgish, and to emphasize B'chol Pam, every time he talks, what does he emphasize? That this minute, right now, Mamish, Mashiach can come. Davar Shekash, now the Rebbe says something very, very powerful. Davar Shekasha Lifo, something that's hard to bring about. Beregish Shela Adam, in the feelings of a person, Sheyisiaches Lekach, that he should relate to this, Kel Davar Mitziusi, as something real. Wow, it's really interesting. And here's the Rebbe saying, these people are wondering, why is it that this man in Brooklyn, whoever it is, must be, I don't know, some guy in Bubba in Borough Park or something, who's just talking about Mashiach all the time? Right? Why is this person talking about Mashiach all the time? And especially when, and the Rebbe just said something really fascinating, when it's very hard for people to make Mashiach something real for them. So why is he talking about it all the time? So this is their thoughts. These people who will not say what they're thinking because they're afraid that this man in bells in Borough Park is going to be angry at them. So I am. Okay. Fourth paragraph, Bishlam. Bishlama. It makes sense, Kasher Maskirim Pamei this Beis Mashiach, that a person will mention Beis Mashiach now and then. No. Safe kol safe. When all is said and done. Harizemikari Emunah. This is one of the 13 basic principles of Emunah. Aval Mao, this is again, the Rebbe is continuing to explain these people who are wondering why this man in Brooklyn keeps saying these, he talks about Mashiach all the time. Aval Mahu Pesher Adibur V'Alahat. What is the explanation of this, of the speaking and the excitement in this Inyan Zeh? L'lei heref, without all the time, consistently. B'chol isvadus v'izvadus, in every Farbrengen. Oh, it can't be bells in the Borough Park, huh? Guess it has to be Lubavitcher. So there's some Lubavitcher who talks about Mashiach all the time. I don't know who it is. Can't imagine. Kilo hayaroitzim, as if, look what the Rebbe says here. It's unbelievable. As if he's trying to make this thing go into the heads of the people listening, like he's trying to smash it in with a hammer. They think. They're wondering, why does he keep talking about Mashiach all the time? Furthermore, I was getting into what these people are thinking. Even though they won't say it, now you assume those people are sitting in the room during the Farbrengen. That Jew who keeps talking, whoever that is, who keeps talking about Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu Lamatam Yasar Tfachim Tekav Miyad Mamish, he keeps talking about Mashiach coming immediately, actually, that's Lamatam Yasar Tfachim. Hineba B'Shah, at the same time, Machzik al Shulchan, he's holding on the table in front of him as he's Farbrengen. I guess it's the Rebbe, huh? I guess by now we figured out it's probably the Rebbe he's talking about, huh? Machzik al Shulchan Siddur. He has a Siddur. Kedei shaloi lites chas v'sholem b'nusach the bracha achroina. Why is there a Siddur in front of this man for bringing in 770? Because he doesn't want to make a mistake when he says the bracha achroina, having had cake and wine in the Farbrengen. So the Rebbe always said the bracha achroina from inside the Siddur. Shabbat medubar Oides Geula, and in that siddur it talks about Geula, B'lashon Asid, future tense. Shiabane, it will be. Ukemeichein machzik as siddur, he also is holding the siddur. Kedei leimer b'tfilas mincha, in order to say mincha, which mincha would be after the Farbrengen, it's the Farbrengen Shabbos afternoon, and right after the Farbrengen Shabbos afternoon, the Rebbe would daven mincha. And everybody would daven mincha. Right. Chabad kedei leimer b'tfilas mincha tzidkas chatzedek, inyan akashvei magolos, something that's connected to golos, and other. That's why we don't say it on the day that we don't say tachlis. Davar v'hipucha. Well, we've seen that. It's the Maimon we just finished. One thing and its opposite. So I'd be saying, I don't know, these people, they're very confused by the behavior of this Rav in Brooklyn, who every time he speaks, he gets up and he talks about Mashiach as if Mashiach is happening right now. And the Rebbe said that amazing line, and that's a very hard thing for people to relate to in actuality. So they're wondering why he's talking about it all the time. Maybe he's trying to just smash it into their head with a hammer. Right, but you know what? At the same time that he's talking about it, there's a siddur in front of him, and the siddur talks about Geul in future tense, and the siddur has parts of the siddur that are said that are relevant to Golas. So what's going on? Elamai, rather what? Now, not only do they wonder about this, the Rebbe is even going to tell us what their conclusion is. Masikim, they come to the conclusion. Inyan zeh hu begeder shel chaloim. This whole idea is like a dream. It's his dream. It's his she'ifa, his goal. It's what he's striving for. Chalom tov v'yafeh, a beautiful dream. B'nusach ha'tfilah shem beis birchas ha'kahanim, like the tefillah that all of us say while the Kohanim are giving us a bracha on Yom Tov, which the Kohanim never say. So I always wonder how the Kohanim have good dreams, because we talk about our dreams, and the Kohanim are busy giving us a bracha. And we're busy trying to figure out how to get our dreams to be good dreams. So how do they? I guess the Kohanim get good dreams because we have good dreams because of them. So then they get also. What do we say in the Nusach? We talk about our dreams. So there's the Kol Yisrael. I guess that includes the Kohanim, right? That my dreams and everybody's dreams should be good. But it's not something that's real. When he's talking about Mashiach, he's not talking about something real. Something actual. He's just talking about something that's his dream. He's just thinking about that which would be so nice. In halacha, we understand the difference between something that's real and something that happens in a dream. Therefore, they claim about this rabbi in Brooklyn. Why is he talking about his dreams all the time? Right? Teach us a mimer, teach us, you even want to teach us a sicha, you want to teach us even a Rashi sicha, which is nigla, which was a big chiddush of the Rebbe to teach nigla for bragging, okay, telling us about your dreams. These thoughts and these thoughts of these people, it's not coming from a lack of emunah, so every Jew believes that Mashiach can come any moment. Nevertheless, but Yadai, this fact that this Jew knows, that we're still in Golos. We're still the servants of Achashverosh. And the exiting from Golos will be is based solely on the desires of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to take us out of Golos, we'll come out of Golos. And if Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to take us out of Golos, he's not going to take us out of Golos. We're here because the Eibishter wants us here for whatever reason. Kedivrei Bala Geula b'Gimel Tammuz, as the Friediger Rebbe said on Gimel Tammuz, before when he was let out of jail and then went to Kastrama in exile, then was let out of exile in Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz. Lo mitzarneinu gilinu mi'eretz Yisrael, not based on our will were we exiled from Eretz Yisrael. V'lo b'ker cheseinu anu nashuv le'eretz Yisrael, and not based on our powers will we return to Eretz Yisrael. Avinu Malkeinu, the Eibishter, He's going to redeem us. Mashiach, based on through the agency of Mashiach, who is the righteous redeemer. Meaning, obviously, we have to do what we have to do to get out of Golus. We have to do what we have to do to bring Mashiach, and that's a very important part of the process. But bottom line, when are we going to get out of Golus? When the Eibusher decides we're going to get out of Golus, that's when we're going to get out of Golus. Right? What can we do to help the Eibusher make that decision? Okay, that's a separate issue. But we didn't go into Golus because we wanted to, and we're not getting out of Golus because we wanted. We're getting out of Golus because the Eibusher wants us to get out of Golus. No matter how much I want, that's not necessarily going to mean that the Eibusher has to do it. It's going to help, but it's up to the Eibusher, like everything else. Hine tchushas hagolus chadura. Now the Rebbe is explaining why are these people wondering what the Rebbe is talking about all the time. Now it's very clear that these people are Lubavitcher Hasidim, right? It's very clear because they're hearing every Farbrengen. Who else is listening to every Farbrengen and wondering this wonder? Why does he keep talking about Mashiach? Do what the other Rebbeim did. Right? Okay. So now this is not coming from a lack of emunah, the Rebbe says, but rather, hine tchushas hagolus, this experience of golus, chadura kol kach, has penetrated so powerfully, beregesh adam, in the emotional state of a person, in the conscious reality of a person, ad she'emuna oidus geula, to such an extent that the belief regarding geula, hi b'ofen shel makif bilvad. It's only makif. It's not something that someone takes seriously. Mean that it's real. Of course I want Mashiach. Of course I believe in Mashiach coming. But I believe in Mashiach coming. Like, believe in other things. Right? And it's perfectly reasonable to, I believe in Mashiach coming, and I assume I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning in Golus, and I'll believe Mashiach's coming, and I'll wake up the next day in Golus, and I'll believe Mashiach's coming, and I'll wake up 2 years from now in Golus, and I'll believe Mashiach's coming. That's not really a very powerful belief, okay? Say that. That's called makif. But they say the person doesn't believe in Mashiach. That's not true. V'chein, hu gam b'yachas l'gula pratis. Also relative to personal redemption. Shehudi machdir la'atzmei. That a person causes to penetrate into himself, and he internalizes in himself, inyan shel golus, the whole notion of golus. Ad she'eni yochel ishtachrer mizeh. He can't free himself from this. Now, this is where I really was wondering who this is. I'm sure Rabbi Gruner could have told me, and I always forgot to ask him. I don't know. Look what the Rebbe says here. Yehudi told me. A Yehudi was a Tommy, learned in Lubavitch, in Kolomailas. Yesh is sitting right now, obviously, sitting right now in a Farbrengen. The Rebbe is talking to some guy in this Farbrengen. This poor guy. Yesh bisvadu shel Yom Shabbos. He's sitting in a Farbrengen on Shabbos. Meitzar v'doyeg, and he's worrying. Makara, what happened? Hareifa Marloi, the doctor said to him, Shitochen shalachrei Shabbos, that it might be that after Shabbos, yitztarech lavar nituch, he might have to have an operation. Doesn't know yet. The doctor told him, I guess he's going to find out next week. But he doesn't know. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said it might be we'll have to do an operation. So he's sitting in Farbrengen, and he's worrying right now. Maybe didn't look at people when he said these things to me. He would like look around. There's a guy sitting there. What is there for you to worry about this on Shabbos? All of your work is done. In other words, in this matter, all the things that you would tipul is like, what the things you would do to take care of a particular medical issue. Tipulim. All the tipulim have been done. Uman, that which Shalach says Shabbos at the end of Shabbos, Titzdarech Lisnagal Pitzivuya Torah, you're going to have to act in accordance with the commands of the Torah, Lishma Divrei Reifet, to listen to the words of the doctor. Whatever the doctor tells you after Shabbos, so you're going to have to do. Harizei in Shaykh Rak Shabbos is only relevant after Shabbos. So it's not Shaykh now. Vim Kain Madu Tzarech Atalim Shechalatz B'Chotav Bilti B'Tzuid. Therefore, why are you drawing down upon yourself something that's undesirable? Ubefrat, particularly, Shodavar nikar b'fanav. This is recognized on your face. Umafriya gam le'elohim demisvivay, and it's bothering the people around you because the people around you see you're all upset and they're getting upset. What's wrong? You okay? You're bringing them down. Imagine, right? This poor guy. Rebbe's giving it to him. Like, what are you doing? You did everything you're supposed to do al pi teva. You took care of this medical issue. The doctor told you we'll find out based on certain tests, evidently. The Rebbe doesn't say that, but that's clearly what's going on. That whether or not you need a nituach, we'll find out next week. So you're sitting in Shabbos and you're worried about this. What are you worried about this? You did everything you're supposed to do. You can't do anything about it on Shabbos. So on Shabbos, you should be sitting here, besimcha, enjoying the Verbrengen and doing what you're supposed to. Why in the world are you worrying about something that's completely out of your control and has nothing to do with what you're doing right now? That's a pretty serious lesson. And not only that, you're affecting the people around you because you have all you have all this negative energy, man. That's the Rebbe saying to him. You're giving off negative energy. Like you're just so negative over there. Look what you're doing.
Killing our vibe.
Right. So, no, it's amazing. Look at that. That's what the Rebbe says, right? In slightly more sophisticated language. Right? But that last line, this is bothering people around you. You look so depressed. You look like a sad puppy dog. Furthermore, we're going to daven tfilas mincha. Sheba omrim v'ani tfilosi l'cha Hashem eis ratzon. Sha'az mishavchim. It's transformed. Kol chavdal lebate dinim l'toif. All the 24 bate dinim, meaning any inyan of din, is transformed into an inyan of toiv on Shabbos. Right? Like we say in Kegavna. Va'ad kedei kach, to such an extent, she'elokim be'roiv chazdecho. Elokim be'roiv chazdecho. Elokim is midas adin. Chesed is chesed. Adarabah, Shabbos transforms Elokim, midas adin, into chesed. Hainu shafilu mishem Elokim. Even mishem Elokim, midas adin v'gvura nimshach rav chazdecho. It's drawn down, tremendous loving kindness. V'im ken harzu shah keishel levatal inyanim elam yichol v'kol. This is a very auspicious time to be mevatel all of these things completely. All of this lack of health that you have. Certainly you shouldn't be worried about it. If anything, what can you use Shabbos for? To be mevatel the whole thing. That after Shabbos, the doctor said, there was no such thing. Don't worry, it's gone, it's fine, everything's good. Now, I wonder if that's what happened. I don't know. That's what I always, every time I learned the Sichas, I said, I have to ask Rabbi Groner, and I never did. What happened? Was it that Metzi Shabbos, the guy went to the doctor, and the doctor said, no, everything's fine. Why? Because right now, what did the Rebbe just do? Right? Sounds like that's what the Rebbe's doing, right? Shabbos turns everything into good, and really it's not there, and everything's fine. So the Rebbe just said, that's really where your head should be. So is the Rebbe doing that right then? I don't know. Could he? Yeah. Did he? I don't know. Similarly in our matter, that since a person is so penetrated, so has internalized so powerfully this reality of Golas. Now, in all fairness, as the Rebbe said earlier, it's hard for us to get out of that Mysticism. That's the only Mysticism we know. But ultimately, that's exactly what the Rebbe is trying to do, is to get us out of that place where Golas is the norm. But a person is so verzunken geworden in Golas, he can't experience a notion of Geula. To such an extent, that when they speak to him regarding Geula, he's sitting there for bringing him at the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and the Rebbe is talking about Geula every single week. It must be like it's a dream. It's just his dream. It's just the Rebbe's dream, and I wish he'd leave us alone with his dreams. Someone in the room is sitting there thinking this, and it's not someone who just showed up to Lubavitch last week. Right? I don't know what happened, but the Rebbe spoke, I mentioned earlier at the beginning, the Rebbe spoke about the Indian Mashiach in a very, very, very powerful way on Yud Beis Tammuz Tafshin Mem Dalet. With it, a few days before this. This is, I don't know, this is a couple days later. On Yud Dalet or Tesvav. This is a few days later. You can look up in the calendar. So the Rebbe just spoke in that and made Kerav El Taint. The Rebbe screaming and said, someone who doesn't feel that completely and totally subrochen by virtue of the fact that the base of Mikdash was destroyed, and that means the base of Mikdash, anybody, what does it say? Anybody who the base of Mikdash is not rebuilt in their days, it's as if he has destroyed it, because it could potentially be rebuilt. And the Rebbe says that twice in the Sichas, and it's very, very interesting. The first time the Rebbe says the whole Maimer Chazal, and the second time the Rebbe says, Hainu kach v'kach. He doesn't want to say it's as if he destroys it. He says it's kach v'kach, such and such. Right? So the person has to have a heart of stone if this doesn't move them. And then the Rebbe starts talking about bringing Mashiach, and then the Rebbe screams, Keravelt, Heint! I'm sure you've seen the video, heard it. It's very, very powerful. Look up Yud Beis Tammuz Tafshin Mem Dalet. Keravelt, Heint, or just look up Keravelt. Turn the world over. Ker is to turn over, like verkehrt is opposite, right? So it's, verkehrt. No, that's the opposite. Lehefech. Turn over the world now. So that Sicha made quite and Mistama, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, based on the fact that the Rebbe is talking about this a few days later, must be some people who are like upset. They wouldn't say it. But these have to be older people who have heard the Frierdiker Rebbe and maybe even the Rebbe Shab, who knows, and no, they weren't talking like this, and they were just saying over Chassidus, and talking about a Veda. Okay. Amnam, however, Lamite shel davar, in truth, the opposite is true. There's a drush in Torah. Right? Famous line. Right? Shir Malis. So what are we saying, Shir Malis? What does David HaMelech say? Regarding now, it's David HaMelech talking before there was Gullus, but he's talking about Gullus. What was Gullus? We were like dreamers. Where were we like dreamers? What's the dream? We just learned about it. Gullus is the dream. Geula is real life. Gullus is the dream. So here these people are saying to the Rebbe that his dream is Geula. The Rebbe is about to explain, no. The dream isn't Geula, the dream is Gullus. Shabbai Mavur Kalalis Inyan Gullus Ubadugmas Acholim. That there the Rebbe explains that the basic idea of Gullus is like a dream. So that we understand that. We just finished the Maimer. Kloimer Acholim Hu. Therefore the dream Loya Dibur ala Geula is not the speaking about Geula, ela adarabba, au contraire. Metzias a Gullus Yechalim. The existence of Gullus is the dream. Shechein Mali Yehudi Linin a Gullus. What in the world is the connection between a Yid and Gullus? They're two completely opposite realities. A Yid is all about revelation, all about Elokus. Shechelik Elokami Mal Mamesh. She's a little piece of the Eibush they're walking around in Elamaz. And Gullus is concealment. The ilu geula bahakitz. The geula is when a person's awake. Zuim etziyus amiti show you. That's the true reality of a Jew. Yadua maimer admar zokin binin vesel of shvameis v'chamishu v'shivim. It's known the drush of the Alter Rebbe. You can see in the footnote. It's not in Torah. It's in Maimarim Alter Rebbe in Parshas Pekudei. So in Parshas Pekudei is all the numbers, right? All the counting up everything. All the calculations about how much was collected and how much was used in the building of the Mishkan, etc. So at the 1775, Shebezem Merumas HaKates. So the Alter Rebbe says this hints at the Kates, the auspicious time for Mashiach to come, which is Tafresh Gimel or Tafresh Ches, right? Lafal P nevertheless, not Rebbe said that those numbers are hinting at the fact that Mashiach is going to come at a certain time. The whole idea of a Kates is a very interesting thing because, if I say there's a Kates for Mashiach and that, let's say that Kates is in 3 years, so what, I don't believe that Mashiach can come today. Right? And yet, Asore Shonim Lifneza, 10 decades, tens of years before the Rebbe said this mimer. Va'amar b'Torah sheGolus hu cholam. He said Golus is a dream. I mean, on one hand, he's talking about a case, and he's talking about a particular time that's in the future. On the other hand, he's talking about the situation that he's in right now, and he's saying it's not real. It's just a dream. It's not what reality is supposed to be. And again, we understand that within the context of the mimer we just learned. But Siva Lafarsem Lahafid's in Zen. He asked that this should be spread, this should be publicized. Kashem Shitzrichim Lahafid's Kol Shar and Yoni Torah Chassidus, like all other aspects of Chassidus, should be publicized. In Yoni Torah B'chlal, and Torah in general. So to this idea that Aleph, there's a Kates, but base, Golus is a cholam. Golus is a dream. Golus is not what reality is supposed to be. Mahi Efa Yataina. What is therefore the claim, Vatmiya, and the wonder al Kach, Shechayzum al Divrei Admar Zokin, Shagolus u cholam? Why would anybody, obviously again, these are people the Rebbe wants to give over the head. He's giving them over the head pretty well. Why would any people in this room have a problem with someone reviewing words of the Alter Rebbe, that Golus is a cholam? Ve'ilu ha'geula hi metzias amitis ba'aketz, and that geula is the true reality, and that's the state of being awake. Zeis v'oid, the Rebbe says, even more. But Maimer now, in this statement of the Alter Rebbe, Mavur shecholam hu mechaber shnei hafachim b'nei se'echad, right? This is all review, because we just learned this in our mind. That cholam is that which brings together two opposites. V'cheinin b'golus, so to golus. And this is, I think we mentioned this outside yesterday, and it's actually how I thought about maybe Kedai, just as a short little break in between my mind, that could see this as such a incredible Sichas. Right, so golus, yochol hu adam laharkiv beis devar mafchim. A person can somehow maintain two opposite states of reality simultaneously in golus, because that's what golus is. Liyers kol yom tarad b'maisu matan ish levitzai. You can be all day involved in mundane matters of making a living, masu matan ish levitzai, to make his living. Nevertheless, together with this, but tefillah, when he davens, he's thinking about the Eibishter, and he wants to cling to the Eibishter. How can he be in two worlds at once? He can be in two worlds at once. That's and what's really interesting, what gives him the koyach to do that? Golus. Golus is davar v'puchai. Golus is such an amazing. When Mashiach comes, so I guess I don't know exactly how we'll be making livings. Exactly how that'll work, but we assume that we're going to be more involved in the expressions of our love of God and fear of God and davening and learning and doing good deeds, etc. I assume, right? So we'll be less involved in mundane matters of making ball bearings to try to make a living. Okay. So, but what's Golus? Golus is a person can live in two places at once. It's a dream. So a person can, and a person can. And it's not that their business is fake, and it's not that their davening is fake. Right? The davening is real. They really want to daven. But they also have to stop davening and go deal with things that have, they're laughable in their lack of importance in absolute terms. Okay, but in the context of Elam Hazeh, so evidently there's some people who need ball bearings, right? They really need ball bearings, and they're really happy when my truck pulls up with my ball bearings. Baruch Hashem, the ball bearings are here. They're so excited when my ball bearings show up. And they use their ball bearings to make their machines, and they're so happy. It's unbelievable. Hey, Baruch Hashem, we haven't been able to do anything, and the ball bearings are here. Let's go, guys. Shoo! And everybody goes, and they're really excited. They've got their ball bearings, and away they go, and they start building their stuff. So it's not that ball bearings are irrelevant. They're very important. You have to make all this stuff with ball bearings. Okay, so I'm making ball bearings. That's what I do. But that is like a bizarre way to spend my day, making little balls out of metal. Okay, serves a purpose in Elam Hazeh, and the Iker purpose it serves, I make a parnas, and I can support my family, and I can give it stock up. So okay, ball bearings. Right? So that's okay. So a person in Golus can actually be in two places at once. Kloimar, hadgoshis yalmailis in cholim. This emphasis on the advantage of the cholim. Right? Shechein, lamrei shebenegea, sheberega koidem, that even though the moment before, hayamunach binyan elam, he was involved in worldly matters, mikol makom berega echad, in one moment, yochel lishapech min hakotze lakotze, he can be transformed from one place to another place, lisnar mi hadimyonis de inyan elam hazeh, and to be woken up from the vain fancies of matters of this world, right? And come to his real place, to love God and to cling to Him, and dav mincha. Right? So now now it's very common. In the old days it was less common. You'd find it more in the back of stores in Borough Park and in Grand Heights. But you would be walking along and all of a sudden someone would come out from a shop and say, mincha, mincha, right? And a bunch of workers, either people who owned the stores or worked in the stores, they'd all gather in the back of some store. And sometimes it was even a Sefer Torah back there, sometimes they'd pull a curtain and all of a sudden there's this little shul in the back of the store. And you go, mincha. What were these people doing 5 minutes before? I don't know, something, selling underwear. I don't know, whatever they were doing. What do you buy in Borough Park? You buy underwear on 13th Avenue, right? So they're busy selling whatever they're selling, men's shirts. And then a bunch of chevra get together. This guy's selling men's shirts, and the guy next to him is selling draperies, and the guy next to that is selling hardware, and the guy, and they all, what do? They throw a hat on, and they throw on a gartel, and they go to the back of the store, and they daven. And what are they thinking about when they daven? So some of them might be thinking about what they're selling. Some of them might be thinking about how much they love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? It's amazing. That's Golos. Lamalusa. Right? That a person can be involved in all the shtus of Elam Hazeh, and yet, right, turn upside down right away. And right side up right away, and daven mincha. Mipnei, why? Mailas acholim, the advantage of a cholim. Shinyonei chibur afochim. Cholim is all about opposites joining together. Sheshosh lemaylim b'yesher. It's a very high level. Kamuvur Sham Baruch, as the Alter Rebbe explains, they're at great length. Now that's what we just learned about, so we don't have to talk about it. That's what we learned in our mind. Once you get up to the shorish of things, so it's all the same. So too, it's true that in this moment we're found in the darkness of Golus. Nevertheless, but since the basic idea of Golus is a dream, it's an amazing thing. It's dafka mitzad the etzem mitzias of Golus that what can happen. Since Golus is a situation of Hibur Hafochim, that opposites can exist consecutively. Therefore, in one moment, you could take this situation and transform it from one extreme to the other. Hainu, sheyetzim micholim Golus, and you go out from the dream of Golus, ubayim lemitzias amitis, and come into true reality. Gula b'feil mamish. The nature of Golus is opposites can exist in one moment, one from the other. That's exactly why Golus is a situation that can be transformed into Geula. That's part of the nature of Golus. It's the Chibur HaFachim, so it doesn't have to be a long process and gradual. It can also be boop, just immediately. Why? That's Golus. So just like you could walk out the door and be in New York, so that's Golus. That's the dream. So you could walk out of Golus and get into Geula immediately. V'mafteach l'kach, the key to this, b'yadei shel kol echad v'echad, is in the hands of every single one of us. Hainu, leirak b'yadei shel rei v'kal, it's not only in the hands of the majority of the congregation, kim b'yad kol echad v'achas mamish, it's in the hands of every single individual. Kemuva b'maimer shel admar hazokin, isa b'tikunim, it says in Tikunei Zohar, shafilim hayat tzaddik echad, if there's one tzaddik, and what was I referred to? V'amech kulam tzaddikim, all of the Yidden are tzaddikim. So it doesn't mean a tzaddik, a big tzaddik, who's a rebel or a rebbe, whatever. Chayzer b'tshuva shlema, were to be chayzer b'tshuva shlema, b'dara in his generation, hayimiyad ba Mashiach. Mashiach would come right away. Now, generally, it's understood that that tzaddik is someone other than the possible Mashiach himself. I mean, every generation has their possible Mashiach, because if Mashiach can come right away, then there must be someone who's shaykh to be Mashiach in that generation. So, simple pshat is it's not that person, because otherwise, so let the Alter Rebbe do tshuva right away and bring Mashiach, right? That would work. Upsak din barer b'divrei Rambam, and it's a clear psak din in the Rambam. Also mitzvah achas, if he does one mitzvah, rechriyas atzmai, he's tipped the scales for himself as kol olam kula in the whole world, l'chav schus, to the side of merit. What does that bring? V'garam loy, and he's caused for himself, v'lahem, and to them, meaning the whole world, tshuva v'atzolo, salvation. Let's go a little further. Kamor. A person can make this happen in one moment. Wait from every day that he should come. Wait, meaning that not wait passively, wait actively. That there's things that I can do to help that happen. Will do to the one who waits for him. The ones who are, so to speak, pushing for a word of chokhmah. In other words, people who are looking for something positive so they'll find it. Meaning when we say mechaka doesn't mean passively sitting and waiting for the bus to come. Mechaka means I'm actively doing whatever it has to be in order to make that thing happen. That means that's when I'm really waiting for it to happen. Amnam, however, a Rambam mevar sheyeshne seder b'davar. The Rambam says there's an order in this whole thing. Right? There's an order to the way Mashiach is revealed, according to the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim. One of the things is Yaakov Chol Yisrael Leilach B'derech is right, that he'll cause all the Yidden to walk in a straight path. Yilachim L'chamas Havaya, he'll fight the battles. Maybe assume those are the spiritual battles, but also be physical battles. Everything the Rambam says when the Geula comes in a normal fashion. Mashen came, that's loy zachu, right? That's when the Yidden don't merit, so the Mashiach has to come in some sort of normal when one thing happens after the other, no?
Chain of events.
Yeah, but there's a word for it. Okay. It'll happen gradually. See, I know it's a very esoteric word that rarely is used in the English language. So that's why I couldn't find it. I was having a hard time. Simple words I find, but gradually, that's like, whoever heard of that? It's probably the first time you ever heard the word. I'm probably the only person who ever used it. Gradually. When words like that leave, you're in trouble. Okay, gradually. Right? So it'll happen gradually. But what? What if the Yidden merits? So they're going to happen immediately. That's kasher zachu. Valachas kama v'kama. I'm sorry. Mashenkin kasher zachu. Which is not the case. It doesn't have to be gradual when we merit. Valachas kama v'kama lachish kvar kol kitzim. Especially when everything, all of the ends have been met. Meaning we're so past the due date. Not only is in a time that I will wait, even I'll tarry, but even in the time of Be'ita, in its time, we're already past the time. So Gula will come immediately, without any beyond all order. Let's go a little further and then we'll stop. Now the Rebbe is going to say something very important. In this parish, this whole thing is very important, but actually, sorry, Yud Gimel, tomorrow we'll see what the Rebbe says about what the Frierdiker Rebbe said. Ubefrat, he's going to quote him. After the Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, he chris, the Rebbe said in 1943, Lauta Lagula, immediately to Geula, Vahidia, and he announced, Shamatzav hu dehine ze amiraka kasleinu. The situation is that he's standing on the other side of the wall. Mashiach Tzidkenu Eimed Me'achrei Kasleinu. Mashiach Tzidkenu standing on the other side of the wall. V'kaisel zeh. In this wall, Einu ba'ifin shel mechitza. It's not a separation, right? Shechein yesh be'chaloines v'charakim. It has windows. It has cracks. U'Mashiach Tzidkenu mashgiach min ha'chaloines u'metzitz min ha'charakim. The Mashiach is looking through the windows and peeking through the cracks. Haripshita. It's obvious. Shemabit shel Mashiach. Mashiach zakuk. Yiddish just sometimes sounds better. The look of a Mashiach, meaning the glance of Mashiach. Mashiach zakuk. Payil pulosei. Does what it's supposed to do. V'im kain. Meaning the Rebbe is saying, the Frierdiker Rebbe says that Mashiach is peeking in and looking at us and watching what we're doing, and therefore Mashiach Zakuk, the glance of Mashiach is giving us the energy to do what it is that we have to do. To bring about the Geula should come immediately, and not only tomorrow or after sometime, today. Shabbos, Parshas, Pinchas, Nas, Tavshin, Mem Daled, B'Shabbos Zu Atzman, and this Shabbos itself, Lifnei Tfilas Mincha, before Mincha. Uba Pashtus, simply, Shbarega Zem Mamish, Peschines in Einaim, we should open our eyes, V'roim, and see, Shemasiach Tzidkenu Nimsa Imanu B'Beis HaKnesses Beis HaMedraseh, the Mashiach is found in this shul, Basar V'Dam, flesh and blood, Neshama B'Guf, a soul and a body, Lamatim Yasar Tfachim, down here in the world. Whoa. Let's read Yud Gimel fast. I don't want to leave you. Because basically we're done. Right? We'll start something new tomorrow. We'll finish up this. Yeshna Matayanim, there are those who claim, and this is very important for our days, because there are those who claim. Shemizeh Gufa Yesh Lahakshis. From this itself there is to ask. What I just said. You can ask him what I just said, the Rebbe said. Hachrozas Nasi Dareinu Lalter Legula, the pronouncement of the Frierdiker Rebbe. Immediately Gula Hine Omer Amakas Leinu, and the Mashiach's looking through the cracks. This is 40 years. The Rebbe is talking 40 years after that statement. Afal Pikein Adayin Loiba, still doesn't come. V'gam Eliyahu Novi Adayin Loiba Levasar Legula. Even Eliyahu hasn't come to tell us about the Gula. So a person can ask, the Rebbe talked about the immediacy of Mashiach. That was Tafshin Nun Beis. That was 30 years ago. Times passed, Mashiach didn't come. Right? Same question. So the Rebbe's talking 40 years after the Frierdiker Rebbe said what the Frierdiker Rebbe said. The person who asked that question today is asking 30 years. Now look what the Rebbe says. Tell me whether he's answering the question or not. Hine kushya zu atzma. This question itself, ba mitzad uvda, is coming from the fact shechadurim beregesh golus, that a person is completely sunk in golus. Ubameila lo yichaylu nishtachver micholim golus, and therefore, and then consequently they can't free themselves from the dream of golus. Lahargish, and to feel shematzias amitis v'haketzi, that the true reality is gula b'feil mamish. Why do I ask the question? I ask the question because I'm so stuck in golus. If I weren't stuck in golus, I wouldn't ask the question. Based on Torah, there is some reality, there's some need for gullus and sleep, because of the positive reality of it, which we learned in our minor. As we learned in Halacha, someone takes an oath, I won't sleep 3 days, Malkin, I say, give him Malkus, for Yoshin Lalter, and he has to go to sleep right away. I mean, there's such thing as not sleeping. We don't wait until he'll see in actuality that he can't not sleep. The shua has no reality because the idea of not sleeping doesn't exist. So therefore there has to be some reality of Golus. If we could experience Golus as it is in the Torah. We don't have to experience Golus as it is in everyday life. We can experience Golus as it is in the Torah. And what's that? Based on the drasha. Al pi inyan Golus k'fishu b'Torah al derech inyan de Yaakov ve'Esav amurim b'Parsha u'b'losh nedu b'Chomer u'b'Levanim, that we worked in Mitzrayim, and the Golus in Mitzrayim was with Chomer and Levanim. So how can we experience Chomer and Levanim? How can we experience that? Chomer da kal v'Chomer, Levanim is a libun hilchasa. Learn Torah, learn a kal v'Chomer, learn Levanim. Levanim is libun hilchasa, whitening the halacha, meaning learning a sugya la halacha. So we're doing that. learning a sugya lahalacha. So what are you experiencing? You're experiencing chaymer levanim of Mitzrayim. You're experiencing a certain expression of goals in a positive way, in a Torah way, in a holy way. Hainu yagia v'shiyabud v'limud Torah. Where should we be enslaved? Through learning Torah. Slave to the learning of Torah. Relative to actual existence outside of that, Geula should come immediately. Okay, so the Rebbe then. Okay, we'll go. I'll show you the end tomorrow morning. We'll learn the end, and then we'll stop. The Rebbe talks about the fact that the fact that it's already been 40 years means it's even closer because it's farther away. Okay, quite an astounding Sichas. There's people in this room thinking some thoughts. Of course, we shall never say it. Okay, it's Wednesday when I have to disappear at 9:30. Bezrat Hashem, I will be back at 10:35. It's never 10:30. But okay, so and we'll do. What are we doing? We're doing the end of the rush, the Rambam. You did the tour.
No.
Okay, so we'll leave the tour in Shulchan for today.
Right.
You were having a good time learning this with the guys?
Yeah.
It's a fun sugya.
Yeah.
It's a really fun sugya.
I had a little bit of extra time because my Chabad went to meet his sister who came into town, and so they asked me for help, and I was like, sure, I learned some Torah.
Yeah, well, their rabbi's a slovenly guy, never helps them out. So. If I could find him, I'd give him an earful, but I just can't. You know, they say it's hard to make arrangements with yourself. So yeah. It's always hard to find them. I try to make appointments with them, I can't find them. So, I know. But it really is a geschmack.
Yeah, it's a fun sugya.
Lieben helped us.
It's very practical and things.
Oh, it's
really
amazing.
See the.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's also not hard. It's not a hard sugya at all. I mean, our guys are doing it and they're making it through it, and it's just a geschmack. It just is. You see how halacha works and how the Rishonim are explained. We had 3 basic issues of the sugya. The Rishonim are explaining them all one after the other. It's fantastic.
I can imagine it's hard to keep track of who says what though.
Well, we have 3 people, right? So then it's not so hard. We can turn this off, right? We have 3 people. So they're so nervous in Bangladesh. We were talking